What is up, sickos? Welcome to MMA Buds Recap. We are live here for World Fighting Championship Akhmet 50, headlined by Emelianenko versus Johnson. I am Dan from the studios here in the 541, and our co-host today is Jay Smooth from the 410. How you doing, Jay?
Doing great, man. Fucking crazy fight weekend despite not having UFC, even though we have UFC coming up. But man, what a weekend.
Heck yeah, man. Combat sports all around. Gotta love it. And I was loving the dual card, man. It's been a minute since we did this. Since ACB and Fight Nights went down, I haven't just been flooded with so many events at one time. So I love the dual streaming, so I was glad to get it on with Brave and Akhmet at the same time, man.
Absolutely, man. And you know what? It's funny because like the fight that we're about to talk about now, it actually was filled. It was filled with a lot of action. The Brave card, from what I saw, was filled with a good amount of action. So it was actually a good fight weekend, even without the UFC involved. And that's always beautiful. That's always a good thing.
Heck yeah, heck yeah. Well, we're going to jump into this card about halfway through or so. That's when I started tuning in. And we're going to start off with a spinning back kick from hell. What a legit kick by Alexei Aramov, says Joel Asanda. Third round TKO. And man, this guy, his name was Alexei. Thought he was the Russian. He's gonna be able to wrestle this guy. It didn't turn out that way, man. He got wrestled one round, then he wrestled the next one. It looked like he was probably rolling to maybe losing this fight though, until he comes away with the spinning back kick in the third, puts an emphatic finish on his fight. If you were like, it's just gonna be another lay and pray fest that I don't have to worry about. Boom! Spinning kick to the liver, Jay.
I tell you what, man, the sequence itself was disgusting because once again, it's another hard body shot. To see him fold the way he did, it let you know that that kick, that body shot had pretty much all of his power behind it. It's funny because that finish sort of, like you said, came out of nowhere. You thought it was going to be another wrestle fest, but then he pulls out just a spinning back kick out of nowhere. Seemed like it caught his opponent off guard too, because the way he was in pain, he was like, "Oh shit, I didn't anticipate that." But definitely worthy of like finish of the weekend, or at least a contender for it. I like that sequence right there. Anytime somebody gets hit to the body and it hurts them the way it does, it's always beautiful. Watch.
Yes, yes. Dude, all right, I got one more highlight. Make sure I pull it up for the guy who melted into the cage, because I don't know where that highlight's at. Hopefully, I got it. Dude, I was loving the finishes this weekend. This shit was crazy. And let's jump to everyone in the chat. What are they saying? Steve Sparks, thanks for showing up. Stewie, Flat Earth Deacon. And, quick reminder, there is another Achmet show on Thursday. So Steve Sparks, thank you for that. Another Achmet 51 coming at us. Not very many names, but hopefully some more action coming too. But Alexei,
How about that?
me free off, man. Jesus, what a finish. And you thought that was going to be the spinning kick of the night. You definitely did. Everyone did. I know you did. Until the spinning back kick to the head comes out by Beslin Ushakov. And, oh yeah, this is the one. This is the melting. Maybe I
Yes,
need to
this
go
was.
watch more highlights from the past. But, dude, I've never seen someone melt into the cage like this. He he fell back into it as he slouched, and his feet just weren't even planted. They just completely slid all the way. He doesn't land on his butt. He slides all the way onto his back. Like the freaking, I don't even know, dude. This is the craziest shit ever.
It's funny because it's like one of those knockouts when you think about like Rich Franklin. I forgot who it is he knocked out, but the guy fell completely down, and he was just frozen, stuck on the ground. This is what it reminded me of, except he's up against the cage, and you just see like you said, you don't see too many people just sort of blend into the cage like that. The fact that his head and neck was just propped up against it, that makes it hurt even worse. It's like when a boxer gets knocked out and you see their head and neck sort of cradled underneath of a rope. Like you can tell there's just extra damage there. And
Mm-hmm.
this was disgusting because it was a spinning back kick. He didn't really like you could tell clearly he didn't see it coming. But the fact that it landed perfect and the fact that he fell back perfect, everything about it it made it look beautiful. It's what the sport's all about. Anytime you see a spectacular knockout like that, all you have to do you can't help but praise it. You feel
Well,
bad for the guy that gets melted like that, of course, because it looks fucking disgusting. But man, it's always beautiful to watch.
dude, I totally agree. And you know what really sticks out in my mind as you're talking about all that? So Terry Edom, right after Edson Barbosa KOs him, he goes stiff. Most people go
Yes,
stiff. They don't go just a bag of potatoes and just fall. So you got the two different parodies out there, and this is one of the best bag of potatoes ones I've seen. And he didn't lawn chair. He just melted it into the cage, into the mat. Freaking glorious stuff over here. I love what Ahmed was bringing us, man.
you know what? It's one of the first cards I've ever actually paid attention to in terms of the promotion, and I'm definitely going to watch again because you see it. You see the talent there, you see the potential there, and you also see the encouraging of finishes, not necessarily just an athletic performance. You actually see people going for it, and that's what you want to see every time you watch a fight card. So I'm certainly down for this promotion any day of the week.
Heck yeah. And I mean, it had its own decisions. At the very beginning of the card, it went like three in a row. But just don't watch that part. I didn't see it, so who cares? And moving on, up next there was a flyweight event, and holy smokes, the Russian lost to the guy from Turkey, I believe, and the challenger Azem came there and put in 5 hard rounds and took it to him, and just his striking, oh my God, he the Russian couldn't take down. He got picked apart pretty much the whole fight. That's pretty much how it went for 25 minutes, and they've got a new flyweight champ over there. That's your recap for that. Let's go straight on to the heavyweight fight. Meave was facing Gonk. I I think this was their inaugural title fight because I don't know if either of them were champion before that. But man, 1 round is all it took for these young heavyweights to go at it. Jay Smooth.
Really, that's what you want to see in a heavyweight fight. With the big boys, you usually don't want to see it go to the distance because we all know how that's going to go. Either it's going to be really good or really bad. Usually with the heavyweights, it's always going to be bad because of cardio and shit. But the fact this only took 1 round, that's what you want to see. You want to see two big boys going for it. And anytime you see them at least taking a chance, even when they're not successful, you still got to show them respect because at least they're taking the chance. Most people they would do just enough to go to a decision in that scenario. But the fact that the two big boys came at it, like they went at it from the opening bell, damn, it actually makes it makes heavyweight MMA look really good. Because usually heavyweight MMA gets a bad rap, but this is a good example of it right here.
Oh man, it was just great sequence all around. There ends up being a takedown. The guy uses the wizard to get right back up to his feet. They start swinging again. It was just in the pocket action. 100% like you said, man. What a heavyweight fight. This is what we want it to look like every time we tune in. And some random fan out there on the Twitter sphere, Duello Sports Management, I guess this must be his manager with 9 in a row and new WFCA 50 Ahmed MMA heavyweight champ by KO in the first. So proud. And so this must be the management owner or something over here. But
Looks like it.
from that, Jay, that leads us up to the main event, what everyone was tuning in for, and that was Alexei Olenek taking on Tony Johnson Jr. in the main event. And this was kind of the other side of that parody, where you get a knockout in the first round. We got a decision over here, Jay, and you caught this after the fact. What did you think of this?
Well, first of all, it was an entertaining fight for what it was worth. Tony Johnson certainly did a lot of groundwork on Emelianenko, actually busted him up and made him bleed pretty bad before the fight even ended. There was a good amount of blood in this fight, man, and it was majority from Emelianenko, so it looks like Tony Johnson's blood work or health is going to be in question, at least for the next few fights he has. But the one thing that I noticed about this is that at the end of the fight, this was ruled a draw. And I disagree with that, mainly because it looked like Tony simply put in more work than Emelianenko did. Fedor still had his moments. He still had Tony hurt at some points of the fight, but this was no way in shape or form a draw. Like, you have to lean either one way or another. If you looked at a fight like this, you don't think draw. You think somebody was a definitive winner. So I think this reminds me of Fedor when he fought Fabio Maldonado. They called it. Well, they gave it to Fedor, but then they overturned it afterward because even they admitted the decision was bogus. I think this is going to be another. Instead of a bogus decision, I think they kind of went the Russian Federation with the safe route and called it a draw, just to be on the safe side. But yeah, I feel like this is a case of Tony Johnson won, but because of where he was fighting at and who he was fighting, the best he could have gotten was a draw if he didn't get a finish. And since it went to the cards, he wasn't. There was no way he was going to win on the cards. So yeah, this is definitely a case of hometown cooking here. That draw decision was very generous. Just to put it simply, it was just generous.
Yeah. I mean, you go round one, and Alexei was doing good. He's standing up. You could give him that one 10-9. Going into round two, though, he got mangled on the ground. And if you're trying to judge it correctly at all, you got to go 10-8 for Tony. And so going
Absolutely.
into that third, that's pretty much. I think this is Alex in between round 2 and 3 with this crimson mask right here, and going into that, it's like, all right, Alex has to win this round to win. And he stands it up on the feet for about easily 2 minutes. He's picking him apart. He's landing big shots on Tony Johnson. Tony Johnson is not phased at all, though. He never at one point in time looked like, oh, man, you rocked me bad. I didn't see that on his face at all. And so the first half, the third, you could almost give it to Alex. The second half of the third, you got to give it to Tony. So in that point in time, again, which was crazy, and I'm not the only one that thinks that, go to Big Marcel over on Twitter. He thinks it's a goddamn travesty that this fight ended up in a draw. But that's the hometown cooking for you, man.
I'll tell you what, anytime you fight in Russia, that's the risk you take. If you go to a decision, and if the fight is close enough, they're going to give it to the Russian. But you're right, man. Tony Johnson won this fight. I believe he won the fight. A lot of people believe he won the fight, but that, unfortunately, it's a risk. It shouldn't be a risk, but this is just an example of Russians making sure that they don't look bad in a situation where they have the most control. And it's getting disgusting now because this was a blatant miscall. And the judging was clearly biased. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, it's not very often that you'll get me to say that someone was robbed, but I think I'm pretty much willing to say it. Tony Johnson got robbed here. There's some bad calls. It could have gone either ways and all that. There's all degrees of shit getting messed up, but this shit was messed up. Steve Sparks in the chat, though, it's so risky that even Tony was happy with the draw that he got robbed. Yeah, at least he didn't get an L right there. Like, oh my gosh.
That's true, man. It could have been like Fabio Maldonado, where they just straight up said you lost, and it only took an overturn and like basically an appeal to get the right result. But I guess Tony will live with this one because it's better than an L. But I bet you if you had Tony in an interview and he spoke honestly, he'll tell you he got robbed. No question about it.
Oh yes. So to recap, you had the draw, you had the spinning liver kick, you had the spinning head kick. Gonk is what we're calling him, is your new heavyweight champ and a new flyweight champ to go with it. And so that's going to be your World Fighting Championship Akhmet 50 recap. Make sure to tune in for 51 on Thursday, like Steve Sparks said. Also, is there PFL this Thursday?
I did not see PFL this Thursday, but I think the playoffs are soon.
I think we get 1 week off. You might be right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely more MMA coming this weekend. If you want more news and clips, tune in to MMA for Breakfast every weekday. Mondays I kind of get slacky. Maybe I'll tune in, maybe I won't. 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 Eastern. Show up for that. And make sure you follow J Smoothe over on Twitter. Until next time, back to all you sickos. We're out of here.
Peace.